Now, what would make a demand be more or less elastic? The price elasticity of demand varies with the availability of close substitutes, whether the good is a luxury or necessity, how broadly the market is defined, and how much time consumers have to respond to a change in price. This simple table indicates when demand tends to be more elastic and when it tends to be less elastic. It tends to be more elastic when many close substitutes exist, when it is a luxury good, when the good is narrowly defined, and when consumers have much time to respond to a change in price. Things that make it less elastic are when few close substitutes exist, when the good is a necessity, when the good is broadly defined, and when consumers have little time to respond. Let's talk about each of these in turn. Consumers become more responsive to changes in price, and demand becomes more elastic when closer substitutes become available. For example, consumers are more responsive to changes in price for the latest version of the iPhone when Android introduces a close substitute into the market. Consumers are more responsive to changes in price, and demand is more elastic when the good is a luxury than when it is a necessity. For example, the demand for milk is less elastic than the demand for furs. Consumers become more responsive to changes in price, and demand becomes more elastic when the market is more narrowly defined. The demand for Coca-Cola is more elastic than the demand for soft drinks because it's easier to find a substitute for Coca-Cola than it is to find a substitute for soft drinks. Finally, consumers become more responsive to changes in price, and demand becomes more elastic when they have more time to respond to a change in price. The demand for gasoline when consumers have 1 month to respond to changes in price is less elastic than the demand when consumers have 1 year to respond. With 1 year to respond, consumers may buy bigger cars or smaller cars. Bigger cars if the price of gasoline has fallen, smaller cars if the price of gasoline has risen. They may take a job nearer to where they live or move to be closer to work if price has risen. They might do that in a year, but they probably wouldn't run and do that in a month in response to an increase in the price of gasoline.